Welcome back to Motivation Library. Today we're diving into The Smart Money Woman by Arese Ugwu. It tackles personal finance in a really unique way.
Ooh, I love when a good story teaches you something along the way.
And this one is set in Lagos, Nigeria. We follow Zuri as she figures out her finances, her career, and relationships.
So it's like a financial self-help book, but it's a novel.
Yeah, you'll be entertained and learn something at the same time.
This is not your typical boring finance lecture.
No, not at all. So let's meet Zuri. On the surface, she seems to have it all. Good job, nice apartment, stylish wardrobe, busy social life.
But there are financial problems.
Yeah, like the classic keeping up with appearances trap.
So many of us do that.
Well, whether we realize it or not. But Zuri has some unexpected expenses. Car repairs, overdue bills, and a medical procedure her insurance won't cover.
Ouch, that's stressful. Those everyday things can really pile up.
Exactly. And at first, Zuri avoids her bank statements and buries her head in the sand. She even thinks about borrowing money from an ex or her mother.
Denial rarely works out in the long run. What makes her face reality?
She finally forces herself to look at those bank statements.
It's not pretty.
She sees she's overspending, especially on things like asoebi.
Audiobook.
Yeah, it's a coordinated outfit that family and friends wear to special occasions in Nigeria. She also overspends on dinners, cocktails, and maybe has a bit of a bag addiction.
I think we can all relate to having little things that get out of control, but the important thing is she realizes her spending doesn't match what she values.
Right. It's not about cutting back. It's about making sure our money choices match what matters most to us.
I like that.
This is a turning point for Zuri. She decides to take charge of her finances and get out of debt. She goes on a spending diet, cutting back on impulse buys and expensive outings.
A spending diet, I like that, but those can be hard to stick to.
They can. The book really explores her challenges. But what I found interesting is how it changes how we think about broke.
Broke.
It's not just about your income. It challenges the idea that financial stability is only about making more money.
So what else is there?
It's about financial literacy, understanding how money works, how to manage it, and how to build wealth over time.
That makes sense.
It also highlights the difference between how broke people and wealthy people think about money.
Oh. What's the difference?
Broke people often just focus on earning money, but wealthy people focus on keeping their money and turning it into assets that make more money.
The power of assets.
Right. It's not just about how much you make, it's about what you do with it.
I'm following you.
And that brings us to active income versus passive income. Active income is from your job, trading your time for money. Passive income is money you make without working for it, like from rental properties or investments.
So you need multiple streams of income, especially passive income, to build wealth and be financially secure.
Exactly. And Zuri's trying to cut back her spending and is also looking for ways to make more money. But before we get into that, if you're liking this deep dive, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a thumbs up.
It really helps us out.
It does. Now, Zuri is determined to tackle her debt. What are some tips the book gives for dealing with debt?
Well, it says to prioritize high-interest debts, the ones that cost you the most money over time.
Okay.
It also suggests looking into debt consolidation, combining multiple debts into a single loan with a lower interest rate. And it says to try negotiating payment plans with creditors if you're struggling to make payments.
Those are good strategies.
Yeah.
But I think what stops people is how debt makes them feel.
It can feel overwhelming and embarrassing.
It can. And the book acknowledges that. It also challenges how people see budgeting. Instead of seeing it as restrictive, we should see it as a way to spend our money on things that matter and help us reach our goals.
I love that. It's about taking control and making your money work for you.
Right. So don't be afraid of a budget. It's like a roadmap to financial freedom. The book also suggests splitting your money into separate accounts. One for bills, one for savings, and one for fun spending.
That way you stay organized and don't spend your savings on stuff you don't need.
Exactly. It's about making a system that works for you and makes money management easier.
Makes sense. Are you ready to see what happens next?
Absolutely. Let's see how Zuri sets those financial goals and creates a vision for her future.
Okay, let's do it.
All right, so Zuri's starting to get a handle on her spending, and she's thinking about setting some financial goals.
Where does she go from there?
Well, she meets Sola, a successful businessman who becomes a mentor to her.
Okay.
He shows her this exercise where you imagine your perfect day.
Oh, that sounds interesting.
Yeah, it's like manifesting, but focusing on how money can make your dreams happen.
I like it.
Sola has her describe everything about her ideal day, from when she wakes up to when she goes to sleep.
Wow.
Like where she lives, what she does, who she hangs out with, what kind of car she drives.
It's all about getting a clear picture of her dream life.
Right. And by going through this, Zuri figures out her goals more clearly.
Okay.
She has some short-term goals, like getting out of debt and taking a summer vacation.
Those sound nice.
And some bigger long-term goals, like saving for a house.
It sounds like she's tying her financial goals to what she wants in life.
Exactly. It's not just about numbers. It's about making a life you love.
It shouldn't feel like you're giving something up.
No, it should get you excited.
But reaching those goals, especially the big ones, takes a lot of planning.
You're right. And that's where investing comes in. The book introduces Omaseed, a successful investment banker who helps Zuri on her path to building wealth.
Investing can be scary for some people.
Yeah.
It seems so complicated and risky. How does the book explain it to someone like Zuri who's just starting out?
Well, Omaseed starts with some basic stuff like what net worth is.
Yeah.
Which is basically the value of what you own minus what you owe.
Okay.
And she introduces different kinds of assets like stocks, bonds, and real estate.
Diversifying and spreading out your risk, that makes sense.
But how do you actually start investing?
Yeah, where do you even begin?
Omaseed says it's super important to start early and use compound interest to your advantage.
I've heard of that, but...
She explains that even small investments can grow a lot over time if you're consistent.
the longer you invest, the more your money grows.
Exactly. It's like a snowball effect.
Okay, that makes sense. But how do you know which investments are right for you if you're not a financial expert?
That's where research comes in and talking to financial advisors.
Oh, okay.
Omaseed also talks about the difference between high-risk and low-risk investments and how important it is to pick investments that match how much risk you're comfortable with and what your goals are.
So it's not one size fits all.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
You need to find what works for you. But Omaseed has one big rule for new investors.
What's that?
Don't invest in anything you don't understand. Do your research, ask questions, and get advice from people you trust before putting your money into something.
That's good advice.
It is. Knowledge is key, especially when it comes to your finances.
So Zuri's doing well with her money, but the book also looks at her career.
Yeah, she's thinking about starting a business, doing side hustles, and even trying to get a promotion.
So did she find the magic formula to make more money?
Well, there's no simple formula. But Zuri learns that being an entrepreneur isn't the only way.
That's good to hear. What does she end up doing?
She has this really important conversation with her mentor, Mrs. Abafa Williams.
Okay.
And she points out that making more money doesn't always mean starting your own thing.
Okay.
Sometimes it means using your skills where you already are and standing up for yourself.
So Zuri took a step back and really thought about her strengths.
Exactly. She realized she was undervaluing herself. Mrs. Abafa Williams said a man in Zuri's position would probably overestimate his abilities and just figure things out as he goes.
That's interesting. Women often underestimate themselves, while men tend to do the opposite.
Yeah, it's something we need to talk about more.
It is.
The book encourages women to see their worth and fight for what they deserve.
And what does Zuri do?
She takes that advice and focuses on getting better at what she does, finding mentors, and negotiating for better opportunities at her job.
So she found a balance between what she loves to do and making more money.
Yeah. It's about finding that place where you can grow, both personally and professionally.
I like that. So what else happens in Zuri's story?
Well, life isn't always smooth sailing, right?
Yeah. What kind of challenges does Zuri face?
One of the big things that happens is Ladun's husband suddenly passes away.
Oh, wow.
It's a real reminder that we never know what's going to happen,
It really is.
and that we need to be prepared, especially when it comes to family.
Right?
The book talks about having things like wills and financial plans in place.
Yeah. It's not something we like to think about.
It's not, but it's so important to protect the people we care about.
Absolutely. It's making sure they're taken care of even if we're not around.
Exactly. But the book also talks about other tough things that can happen, like relationship problems because of money.
Money can cause so much stress in relationships.
It can. We see that with Adesua.
Oh, what happens with her?
She has marriage problems because of secrets about money and not enough open communication.
It's so important to be honest and work together when you're a couple.
It is. It's not about one person being in control. It's about making decisions together and supporting each other's goals.
I agree.
And this all goes back to what the book says about building financial resilience.
What do you mean?
It's not just about getting your finances in order. It's also about being ready for anything life throws your way.
So like having a safety net.
Yeah. like when unexpected costs pop up or something big happens in your life.
How do you do that?
The book says to have an emergency fund, make sure you have enough insurance, and keep checking and changing your financial plans as things change in your life.
So being proactive and protecting yourself and your loved ones.
Exactly. It's about having that peace of mind, knowing you can handle whatever comes up.
I think that's a great point. So what were your biggest takeaways from The Smart Money Woman?
For me, it was really eye-opening to see how Zuri learns to spend her money on what she values and set goals that mean something to her.
It's not just about getting rich.
No, it's about using money to make a life that you enjoy.
I really liked that about the book, too.
What about you? What stood out to you?
I thought the mentors are really important in the book.
Like Sola, Omasede, and Mrs. Balfour-Williams.
Yeah. They help Zuri so much, giving her advice and supporting her as she figures things out.
It's true. It shows you don't have to do everything on your own.
Asking for help from people with experience can make a big difference.
It can. So as we wrap up our deep dive into The Smart Money Woman, what's the main message you think it leaves us with?
I think it encourages everyone to take control of their money.
Like, be financially smart and create a life you love.
Yeah. And it reminds us to think about how our values connect to our financial decisions.
That's a great point. It's not just about making money. It's about using it wisely to create a life that really reflects who you are. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into The Smart Money Woman.
I had fun.
Me too. We hope you found it as insightful as we did.
And if you did, subscribe to Motivation Library for more great book summaries.
We'll see you next time.